If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode?
Episode 145.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, we tackle those last few straggling dropshipping questions that have been on your mind since the episode last week, where I tackled most of the questions that you might have before you get started. And we talk about that paralyzing analysis paralysis thing that keeps people from getting started with their online business. I've got some examples and some answers for you. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Hey, I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic week, because this is the podcast that helps you get your internet business built one night at a time. And I am your host, Mark Mason, coming to you from the little studio in Dallas, Texas. And we have had some challenges here at the studio this week. We have been struck by the Vacation Bible School fever. Now, I have no idea why my pediatrician calls this fever the Vacation Bible School fever, or the VBS fever. But apparently a lot of kids that are around the age of my children, which is Vacation Bible School going age, have been getting this persistent fever that you get it and it comes and goes for a week or more. And there's not really much you can do about it. Apparently it's viral. Sometimes it turns into a bacterial infection that you can do something about, but you just basically have to deal with it. And that has challenged us. We've been missing baseball tryouts and basketball games and all kinds of different stuff. Luckily, it's been limited to my son so far. I'm hoping that my daughter, who is actually at Vacation Bible School this week, doesn't get this thing. But, this is just all part of being a kid. I can remember being sick when I was a little kid from time to time, and how much that really was a bummer, because a lot of times when you're a little kid, even though you're sick and you're running a fever and your parents are telling you you can't go outside, you don't really feel all that badly. And so I feel for my son, and hopefully this will all be over soon. I know he was bummed because last night he missed his basketball game and his team had to play shorthanded. So that's never good, but we'll be back next week with a vengeance, and hopefully he'll be feeling a lot better then. For those of you that asked about the baseball tournament, thank you very much. It was a fantastic experience for us. We had so much fun playing with the team that we played with. We didn't do very well in the tournament, but it was a great experience. Baseball tournaments, for those of you that have done this, are a totally different experience for kids than playing in regularly scheduled baseball games. You're traveling, you're playing teams you've never seen before. The level of competition is generally very high. And so, it's an experience. And so it was a great experience for us. Like I said, we didn't play very well. We didn't do very well in the tournament, but we'll be back, more tournaments in the future. So thanks for all of you that asked about how that went. It was great for us. We had a fun time, except for the whole Vacation Bible School fever stuff, which happened during the tournament. So that was kind of a bummer. We played through it, but we didn't like that very much at all. So this week, I want to talk to you a little bit about this this drop shipping thing one more time, because we've had a few more really important and intelligent, frequently asked questions come in that I want to answer for you. If you're on the fence about wanting to mess around with drop shipping, but you just got these few nagging questions, I want to make sure we get those answered for you. But before we do that, I have a favor to ask you. On my website at latenight.internetmarketing.com, I've been working on the redo of that slowly but surely over the last year. That's almost complete. And one of the things that I need to add there and on the sales page for my upcoming courses is some testimonials. Now, for the courses, most of the testimonials will come from people who have actually taken the course. But when you first start a course, you need something to put on there. And so I have a request for you. If I have helped you in some way, if you've enjoyed the podcast, if I've given you ideas that have helped you in your business, if we've interacted in some way, if you've used my material in a way that helped you in your business, I would really appreciate it if you would go to latenightim.com/testimonial and leave a comment for me that I can use on one of these websites that will help people understand that I'm a good guy. That would make me really happy. If you take a few minutes to do that, it takes about 3 minutes to do that. And in many cases, I'll be using your testimonial right on the front page of some website somewhere and referencing your website and so forth. So go ahead and put that into your browser, latenightim.com/testimonial. And if you have something nice to say, or even if you don't, go ahead and leave me a comment and tell me about how I've helped you, how the podcast has been valuable to you, maybe how long, whatever comes to your mind that you think might be helpful in that context of testimonials. I would really appreciate that. I've already gotten several from my loyal members of the Late Night Internet Marketing Facebook group, but I'd really like to open it up to you guys, loyal listeners of the Late Night Internet Marketing podcast, over at latenightim.com/testimonials to let me know how the podcast has helped you, how it's motivated you, how it's changed your business in a positive way. I'd love to hear from you. And in addition to those being helpful from a business sense, I just really enjoy hearing about how the work that I'm doing is helping you do the work that you do. That's part of the reason that I do it. And so when you share that feedback with me, it really means a lot. Again, that's latenightim.com/testimonial. Really appreciate that.
It's time to get to work building your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
All right, now a few drop shipping questions. So in case you're just joining the show for the very first time, in episode 143 and 144, the immediately episodes prior to this episode, we've been talking about drop shipping. And the model that we've been talking about is a model where you source products from AliExpress. You use software like Shopify, like Shopify and Oberlo, and you source products from China and you advertise them probably on Facebook or other places like Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. And you cause people to impulse buy things that they didn't know ahead of time that they really needed. But once they saw your ad on Facebook, they knew for sure that they just had to have that item. They pay you for the item, and then you use the money that they gave you to drop ship the product to them, and you keep the profits to pay for your ads and put some money in your pocket. That's how this kind of drop shipping model works. And if you are interested in a course on how to do this, a free course that's offered by Shopify, you can check that out over at latenightim.com/drop ship. That's a really cool course. Highly recommended. If you just want more information than what you got on the podcast, head on over to latenightim.com/drop ship for additional free information about that model. So there's some more questions that people ask that keep them from getting started. And one of the questions that people ask is, can I get my products from somewhere other than AliExpress? I'm not all that comfortable with drop shipping from China. I don't want to do that. I don't want products from China. I want to drop ship from the United States or Germany or whatever, because that's the kind of drop shipping operation that I want to have. So yes, absolutely. You can drop ship from anywhere. And if you Google drop shippers or drop shipping sources or places that you can drop ship from, you'll get an amazingly long list of all of these different drop shipping companies that you can use. And some of them, unlike AliExpress that sell directly to retail, some of them only do drop shipping and are set up for that sort of thing. And so there's lots of options outside of this option of AliExpress. The only reason that I focus so much on AliExpress in these particular examples is that it is super ridiculously dead simple, easy to get started, because Shopify, Oberlo, and AliExpress all work together very easily. All the approval processes and barriers to entry are incredibly low, and it's just really, really easy for someone to get started with really, really limited amount of experience. So yes, there are other sources for drop shipping, and I encourage you to check into that. And as a matter of fact, if it's just the China piece that is bothering you and you're wondering about US, even AliExpress has suppliers inside of AliExpress that ship from inside the United States. So you can check that out when you're searching for products to promote on your site inside of AliExpress. One of the things that you can check, one of the limits that you can place on the search, is you can tell it to only show me suppliers that ship from the United States. And so that's another way you can do that. Now that's going to, since AliExpress is mostly coming from China, that's going to dramatically limit the products that you can actually promote. But if that's a care about of yours, and I completely understand that, I think that you can do that just fine from AliExpress. Now, let me also say, I think that's a limiting belief that, the world is getting smaller all the time. Most of the manufacturing in the world happens in China anyway. So even if you're drop shipping from the United States, 9 times out of 10, you're drop shipping products that are made in China or in the Far East somewhere. But if that's something that's important to you, you can absolutely, at the very least, check that out. And you can also check out other drop shippers. And one way we see drop shipping success that's also outside of this model is you may have some special knowledge about some particular area of expertise that you have because of your day job, for example. So let's say that you work for a swimming pool company. And because of the fact that you work for a swimming pool company, you have special relationships with swimming pool filter manufacturers. And your idea is you want to talk to those buddies that you have been working with for the last 20 years at the filter supply company, and you want to create a drop shipping website specifically for swimming pool filters that leverages your special relationships that you've built with some particular supplier, and you want to drop ship their products because, you can go to lunch with those guys and make an arrangement. And that's great. And I think that's another drop shipping model that is not as broadly applicable to everyone because it relies on, your particular life experience, but those opportunities are out there as well. And I know a lot of people I hear of a lot of people that are having success in that way, where they're leveraging relationships that they already have in the drop shipping space. So I hope that answers that question about shipping from China. Now, another country related question that I get, and Marjorie, who helps me with the show notes, asked me this question: what if I'm in another country and I want to run this drop shipping business from the Philippines or from Singapore or from Europe somewhere? What do I do? And so there are two questions buried in this. One is, can I have a business that is located in another country and run it from there? That's the first question here. And the answer is yes, absolutely. People that are doing this drop shipping model are doing it from anywhere in the world, quite literally. And the complexity is only that when you're dealing with AliExpress and getting money back and forth from Shopify and PayPal, so you're paying AliExpress and then you are dealing with getting money from Shopify and PayPal. As most of you know that live in other countries, there are charges that are associated with that. If you're using a credit card with AliExpress, you may have foreign currency exchange fees, and you certainly will have fees when you bring money back into your home country because your money's going in a big circle. The customer that you're dealing with is giving you money through Shopify, which is a U.S.-based company, or PayPal, which is a U.S.-based company. If you don't have a U.S. bank account, you're going to have to do something to move that money from PayPal or Shopify into your Philippine bank account, say, for example, and then you're going to need to then use that money to buy the product on AliExpress and to pay Facebook. And when you pay Facebook, you're going to need to use a credit card. And if your credit card is not a U.S. credit card, there may be fees there. And quite frankly, I'm not an expert on this topic of credit card fees and all this kind of stuff, but that's the thing that you have to worry about if you're outside the United States. Can this work? Absolutely. And in fact, a huge number of the people that are working in this 100K factory activity are working from outside the United States, particularly a bunch of people in Europe and Canada, but also people in Asia and Australia, all over the world, really. And so this totally can be done. It's just an issue of managing fees. Now, you know, for example, I understand that if you're in the UK, that you can get a U.S. bank account from Barclays. I've never done that, actually, so I don't really know. But there are ways that you can get U.S. bank accounts, I'm told, in many cases. And if not, you can just adjust your prices and margins to handle the fees. And that's usually not a big deal because we're only talking usually about a few percent there. You know, there's other things that you can do related to offsetting those fees. For example, you can look for credit cards that pay cash back. And in fact, I have a credit card that I use for social media buys that actually pays a higher cashback percentage on social media purchases. It's a business credit card. And one of the things that it pays cash back on preferentially is social media purchases. So you can look at that. You can also look at AliExpress loyalty programs. There's a couple of them. One's called Ali Bonus, and one's, of course, the AliExpress affiliate program. And there are ways that you can leverage those programs to get cash back and improve your margins on your purchases from AliExpress. So all of that is stuff that you can look at to help you run your business outside of the United States. Bottom line answer to that question is, if you're outside of the United States, you absolutely can run your drop shipping business from outside the U.S., and many, many, many people do. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to talk about with regard to your countries that you're working in, and that is that the advice that I hear is that the best place to start your drop shipping business is actually in the United States, to actually market to the United States. And that has to do with the fact that there's a lot of money to be had in the United States. It's an affluent country. There's a lot of Facebook users in the United States, and there's a lot of consumption in the United States. People in the United States recklessly buy a lot of stuff they don't need, I guess. But it is recommended, I read that it is recommended many times that you start your drop shipping business in the United States and fan out from there. Can you start in Australia or some other, kind of highly developed country with a high standard of living and lots of expendable income? Absolutely. Would I start my drop shipping business in a country where there was less money available and maybe less exposure to Facebook? Probably not. So I probably wouldn't choose to start my drop shipping business in a country with less economic development. What you're looking for in this particular model that I've described is taking advantage of people making impulse purchases with disposable income. So you want to target countries that have a lot of this disposable type income. And the United States is very high on that list of places you can go where there's money that people are spending. So that's the other thing about starting. So, for example, starting a business in the Philippines, I think most people that are starting this drop shipping business in the Philippines are actually marketing to the United States. They're selling products in the United States. Their Shopify store is set up. Their store is set up on Shopify, which is based in the United States. The currency in their store is U.S. currency, and they're marketing on Facebook. And when they're starting their store, they're limiting that marketing to people in the United States. The website is in English and so forth. So I hope that helps with that question about the starting country. Okay, so one other thing that I wanted to tackle, and this is a very frequently asked question, and I can't remember if we even talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to address it again in any case. What about returns? People worry that they're going to sell something and someone's going to return it, or there's going to be a lot of customer service burden and so forth. With regard to customer service, I think the very simple thing to do is to set up a support email for your store. So if your store is called bubbasyellowcameras.com and you're selling yellow cameras, you'd set up an email called support@bubbasyellowcameras.com. You'd set up a form on your Shopify website, a contact form that says, hey, if you need our help, fill out this form. And when they filled out that form, their information, whatever they typed in, including their email address and so forth, would be sent to support@bubbasyellowcameras.com, and you'd answer the support ticket just like you would expect. And in my particular case, I have all this tied to a free support application that I've talked about before called helpscout.net. I'll put a link to that in the show notes, and Help Scout is my very, very, very favorite help desk. And if you send a ticket to support@latenightim.com, you will get yourself entered into my Help Scout system. You'll get a nice email back that says, I'll contact you as soon as I can, and so forth. It's exactly the kind of stuff that you would expect for customer service experience. So that's how you handle customer service. But the question is, what do you do about returns? And so I think you have to really ask yourself what's really happening here. So you just sold a $20 product, let's say, and the customer gets it and they don't like it. It's broken, or it didn't work the way they expected, or whatever. So they're going to send you an email to support. And the very reasonable thing that you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, sorry you had this problem. We deeply regret it. Please describe the nature of the problem, and we will issue you a return merchandise authorization number. We'll give you permission to send it back to us. Tell us what happened, and maybe send us pictures if that's appropriate, and we will take care of it. Now, a certain number of people are going to, when they get your answer that you need more information, they're going to look at that and say, I'm not dealing with this over an item that I paid $17.95 for, and they're going to throw the thing in the trash. But some people will actually answer your question, and you're not trying to be difficult. You're just saying, hey, look, I need information to prevent return fraud or whatever. I need information to process this return. And this is no different than what you see with big companies in the United States. They want to know the serial number or something. They want some information, an order number, something to prove that you're a real customer and that you really bought the thing. And that's all you're asking for, is the order number and some description of the problem, and maybe a picture if it's defective. And you will happily return their money, because after all, you probably have something on your site. I definitely recommend this, is 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee. All right, you'll return their money for any reason. And so they'll send you this email, and then you will send them back some authorization for return. And I recommend that you generate an official looking return merchandise number, and you ask them, give them some instructions. Please ship to this address and put that information on the outside of the package. Now, for me personally, I use a P.O. box in the United States. There are centers that you can pay for if you Google around for fulfillment centers and other things like that. There are people that will provide this service for you. But for right now, I'm using my own very own P.O. box right here in the Dallas area. And if people ask for a return, I tell them, sure, let me know what the problem is, and I'll give you the return information. They send me back the information that I need to make sure that it's a valid return, and I send them where they can send it with shipping instructions. At this point, they need to pay for shipping. I don't pay for that. They need to box up their thing according to my instructions. They need to put the RMA number on the outside of the box, and they need to ship it to me. And if they do that, then I will absolutely take back their return and either refund their money or, more likely, replace the item with an item that's not defective. And if I need to do that, what I will do is I will order them another one from AliExpress. The thing is, though, for a $14 item or a $20 item, most people aren't going to mess with this. And in fact, having shipped now over 100 items out of my store in this last month, I've not had one single return ever. Not one. Not even a request for a return. I haven't even gotten to the point where someone said, hey, this isn't working right and I need to return this. Can you help me? Nothing. I've had one customer service question, which was someone who bought an item from me and wanted to know how to use it. It was an electronic item and they didn't understand how it worked. And I answered that question and that was it. That's the one customer service question that I've had related to product returns. I've had one other customer service inquiry related to shipping times. Someone was asking me where their product was, and I told them I looked up the shipping based on the tracking number. It was actually scheduled to be delivered that day, and they literally went down to their mailbox that day, and their product was there, and that was the end of that conversation. That has been the extent of my customer service experience with this Shopify store. And so I think a lot of that has to do with selecting really good suppliers, and we can talk a little bit about that in a second, but it also has to do with the fact of staying away from products that generate a lot of returns. And I think, products that generate a lot of returns are things like clothing, because oftentimes clothing won't fit. And I will tell you, while I've never dealt with clothing on AliExpress, I hear that often clothing on AliExpress is difficult because the size varies so much. A medium shirt from one vendor is going to be different than a medium shirt from another vendor, and the sizes are all over the place. That means that your customer is going to get a shirt, it's not going to fit. They're going to want to return it, and they're going to want you to ship another shirt to them and that sort of thing. That can be a customer service burden. My recommendation, particularly when you're starting out, stay away from stuff that's likely to be returned. Rings are another example of something that's likely to be returned because ring sizes are kind of difficult to predict. Heck, I have trouble specifying what my ring size is when I'm in the jewelry store, much less when I'm trying to buy something online. So that's another example of something that is likely to generate a lot of returns. The other thing that I would say is when you're picking products out of AliExpress, pick products with lots and lots of positive reviews. When you're looking at AliExpress, you can see that some products have thousands of orders and hundreds of 4 and 5 star reviews. And I don't know what the real accuracy of all these reviews is, but you want to try and pick stuff that looks like people are saying good things about, because when you're happy with a product, you don't return it. So that's kind of the issue there. With regard to the suppliers themselves, the suppliers are also rated, and AliExpress has this complicated rating systems with stars and diamonds and crowns and all this other kind of stuff. And you want to pick, I think it's the crowns, I can't remember, you have to look, but you want to pick suppliers, you want to pick items with lots and lots and lots of transactions, lots of orders against them, so you know that it's a popular item. And you want to pick suppliers that are supplying that item with a very, very high rating, 97% or higher. And you want to make sure that that supplier is a good, reputable supplier using the rating system inside of AliExpress. So I hope that helps you. That's a few more drop shipping questions. Again, if you want to really get the full skinny on how to implement this drop shipping thing to try it out, you can do it essentially almost for free. And when I say almost for free, you're probably going to want a domain name for your store, so that's going to cost you $7 or $8. You can do this almost for free by going to latenightim.com/dropship. That's going to give you the course from Shopify, a 14-day free trial from Shopify. the Oberlo software, which is free to get started with, and explain to you how to get started on AliExpress for free. It's free in the same way that Amazon is free. They make their money when you buy stuff, so it's free to get started and get products into your store. You don't actually need to spend any money in AliExpress until someone's already given you money. So again, that's latenightim.com/dropship.
It's time to get to work building your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
So real quick, I wanted to have a discussion about getting started in your internet business. And this is a topic that maybe we don't spend enough time on it, but I keep hearing from people and seeing people that are just almost paralyzed, or not paralyzed, but they just won't start. They know what they want to do. They feel that feeling that they want to get started, but there's just a list of things that are keeping them from getting started. And so I wanted to address those people. I just recently had a conversation with a listener in the late night internet marketing community over on Facebook. I'm not going to call this guy out, but he knows who he is. And I talked to him. I said, what are you doing? And, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, really, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like, well, what hobbies do you have? And he said, well, my hobbies are learning about internet marketing. I don't do anything else. I listen to podcasts, and I'm churning on this stuff and just gobbling up all this information. And then I have another person that I talked to in the real world about this, kind of drop shipping thing and what's it going to take to get started. And that person indirectly was saying, well, I just hadn't pulled the trigger. I'm still learning. There's so many questions, I don't know what to do. Right. And so I think sometimes you just have to start. You just have to start, and you have to ask yourself, why is it that you haven't started? And many times the reason that you haven't started is fear of failure. And I want to encourage you to really be honest. If you're in this place where you need to do something and you haven't done it, you need to ask yourself why. Why haven't you got this thing done? For me, I've had examples of this with courses that I'm working on that never seem to get finished, right? I have to ask myself, well, why isn't that done? Is it really that I haven't been able to find the time over the last 2.5 years to get this thing done, or is there something else? And for you, with whatever it is that you're doing, is there some underlying fear that you need to think about? Are you really afraid that you're going to screw up? And I think a lot of times that's really what it is. You're afraid you don't know what to do, and you're going to look foolish, or people are going to think you don't know what you're doing, or you're going to feel foolish because you're going to make a mistake, or you're not going to do it right the first time, and that's going to result in something bad. I promise you, you're not going to do it right the first time. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I never do anything right the first time. It's okay. I give you permission to mess up. And especially on something like drop shipping or starting a website, there's just not that much at risk. There's not that much money involved. So you pick the wrong domain name, no problem. Domain names cost $7 or $8 or $9. Go get another one. It's not a big deal, right? Figure it out as you go. And I want to encourage you to set aside that fear of failure and just take action. Everybody that I know that's successful, the way they got there was by taking bold action. And you are no exception. You have got to get out there and go do stuff. And for those of you that are stuck in this loop of getting a PhD in whatever topic it is that you're wanting to work on, or you're so busy worried about internet marketing tactics that you haven't figured out exactly what it is that you want to do, let me encourage you to pull back a second. It's not about the tactics. If you're going to have a successful business online, you're going to have to add some value. If it's a drop shipping store, you're going to have to add value in the marketplace by showing people products that they didn't know that they need and giving them the opportunity to buy those cool products, like, this blow up couch that I was talking about the other day. Yeah, I didn't know I needed that. And now this, some marketers present that to me, and that's cool. And it puts a smile on my daughter's face or whatever. You're going to have to create value by matching offers to buyers, like we've talked about many times. if you're going to start some kind of information business like a blog around a particular topic, you're going to have to add value. And all of the marketing tactics in the world are not going to matter if you aren't creating some value. So instead of being paralyzed by studying all this internet marketing stuff, what I want to challenge you to do is pull back a little bit and imagine what is it that you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? And in the case of the Facebook group, the answer was, well, I don't have any interest. All I'm doing is focused on internet marketing, focusing on figuring out this internet business thing. Well, that's not going to work. I mean, you're going to need a purpose for doing things. You're going to have to figure out what it is that you want to accomplish. What is your business objective online? And I think the best business objective is fundamentally to help people profitably. I think that's really what it is that you want to be able to do, is to say, I help people profitably by teaching them how to get rid of their psoriasis, or teaching them how to build a business online late at night, or by teaching them copywriting, or by teaching them how to podcast, or by teaching them social media, or by teaching them how to build passive income. You see, Pat Flynn, he's helping people profitably by helping people how to create passive income. Cliff Ravenscraft is helping people profitably by teaching them how to podcast and how to take their message to the next level using podcasting as a tool, or to take their business to the next level by using the lessons that he's learned in his podcasting journey. Ray Edwards is helping people grow their business, and one of the ways that he does that is by teaching them copywriting, and he does that profitably because he is helping people and people are willing to pay for that. Michael Stelzner is helping people stay on top of social media and grow their businesses by teaching people about social media, helping them stay abreast of changes in the social media space. And he does that very profitably, and primarily by creating this incredibly valuable conference called Social Media Marketing World. He's helping people, adding value, and that creates a profit. You need to be able to say, I am doing this thing, and this thing is helping people. I think that's really, really important. And so if you want to get unstuck, and you know who you are, if I'm talking to you, if you want to get unstuck, you essentially got to stop studying everything and take action with a purpose. So you got to decide what it is that you're going to try to accomplish, how you're going to try to help people, and you've got to decide what the next step is. And then you've got to employ something that I learned from Jeremy Franzen called just-in-time learning. So if it is that you have decided that you're going to help people profitably by teaching them how to do woodworking, and you know that you need a website, your next step is to register a domain name. You need to figure out how to register domain names. And hey, there's a podcast episode about that. I will put that in the show notes. You need to go listen to Mark Mason's podcast episode, download his guide on how to register a domain name well and how to pick the right one. And you need to go do that today and take that action, okay? And not be caught up in what you're going to do about Facebook advertising for this website. Because guess what? You don't have a website yet, right? You need to register the ding-dang domain name, right? And you need to decide why you want a domain name, and you need to go get it. And so that's really the thing I think that will help a lot of you get unstuck. So for those of you that are stuck, it's okay. I've been stuck. I give you permission. You have Mark Mason's permission to unstick yourselves, figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and take that next action. Only worry about what the next critical path action is. If you do that over and over and over again, focus down on the next action that helps you to accomplish your big goal, whatever it is, helping people learn woodworking, helping people understand how to sell T-shirts on Teespring. I don't know what it is that you're doing, but whatever it is that you're doing, if you'll figure out what the next step is and focus only on that and take some action on that today and not wait till tomorrow to actually do something every day to accomplish that next action, you will accomplish the next action, and then you can work on the next one and the next one and the next one, and you can eat that elephant one bite at a time and be incredibly successful over time. I hope that helps you, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week. I'm out.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
Okay, baseball tournament, super fun. We're in the process of trying to decide what team we're going to play with and for. In the fall baseball season, we play baseball all year round here in Texas. We don't play so much in the summer, although there's some tournaments, but we definitely play fall baseball, and then the big season is in the spring. We stay in shape over the summer, and in the winter, when we can't play baseball in the winter, playing basketball, and we had our first basketball game last night. We played with 5 people. Zach was sick, and everybody else is on vacation, and we almost won that game even with just 5 guys. So we're excited about this basketball season. So things are going really great here. Staying incredibly busy. Things are really busy in my day job, and that's slowing me down, but I love it. Everything's all good, and I hope you're having a great week as well. And for those of you that have taken the time already to leave me testimonials, I just want to say again how much I appreciate that. And if you haven't, head on over to latenightim.com/testimonial. Let me know what's on your mind and how I have helped you in the past. That's really helpful to me. Thanks. Bye.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me. In 2007, when I was trying to get started, there were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet, and I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.